There was a time when brown bears roamed in incredible numbers. In North America, the grizzly and the Kodiak bear, and a continent away, the Eurasian brown bear. Today, the number of brown bears in the world is much smaller, and to see one, to actually encounter one, is rare. This is a story of how people from two countries came together to show the importance of brown bears and one special bear who would find a home in Montana. The story of Bear Meadow starts in 2003 when the Russian company Norilsk Nickel purchased controlling interest in the Stillwater Mining Company, a producer of platinum, palladium, and other rare minerals in southern Montana.
It was kind of a landmark investment, if you will. There weren't too many Russian companies making investments in Montana, at least at that particular point in time. And so it was a goodwill gesture following the transaction, saying, look, what can we do? What might be out there that might be visible to the public, that might be something that we could do that would essentially signal the fact that we're grateful for the help that we did receive.
Zoo, Montana, located in the city of Billings, offered the perfect opportunity.
Stillwater Mining Company first became involved with Zoo, Montana in 1998 when it committed to build the bighorn sheep habitat, and at that time the bighorn ram was the company's logo. We see a number of families out here during the day, and the feedback we get from our employees and their families is they just enjoy coming to the zoo, spending time at the zoo, learning about the animals, and in fact we hold our company picnics out at Zoo, Montana in August.
We became aware of the fact that there was a desire for a bear exhibit at the zoo. It would be really right next door to the Stillwater bighorn sheep exhibit that's there. And we thought that that would be a good gesture. Norilsk agreed with us. Norilsk provided the majority of the funding for this, so it is called the Norilsk bear exhibit.
With a $1 million donation, Zoo Montana's largest to date, Norilsk made it possible to build a spacious 2-acre bear exhibit, one of the largest in the world, with facilities to care for up to 4 bears.
We're really proud of that fact. That's one of the things we strive to do out here at Zoo Montana is, we don't have a lot of animals, but what we do have, we give a tremendous amount of space. We try and replicate a natural habitat for them.
This presented the challenge of building an exhibit that would have the look and feel of a real bear habitat.
Most everywhere I've gone now, they're going to the rock walls that actually look real. They're manufactured with rebar and mesh and have concrete sprayed over the top with them.
The design also would stay as green as possible. The used water from the bear's pool would be recycled as the exhibit's irrigation water, and reused materials like down trees gave it a natural look.
Stillwater Mine actually brought in a bunch of boulders from the mining operation that they were using, so that those weren't just left to go somewhere. They were actually brought out here and used as part of the exhibit.
With the construction plan in place, all that was left was to find a captive bear. But this would not be an easy task. The population of captive grizzlies is kept very small for important reasons.
And that's the thing with grizzlies. That's why there's no breeding of them in captivity, because there are so many that become abandoned out there. They live for a long time in captivity. They need a large amount of space. So it's very hard for fish, wildlife, and parks to find them homes in zoos. It's a catch-22. It's like, well, good news is there aren't a lot of abandoned ones. Bad news is we could have had an empty exhibit out here all summer.
Luckily, news arrived about a captive bear in Tennessee named Bruno.
And then we found out about this bear quite a long ways away, but this bear was a real personality and had a lot of, was a very active type of bear and just really sort of caught your attention. And the more we found out about Bruno, we thought, boy, that would be the perfect bear for our first bear here at Bear Meadows.
Perhaps living in captivity all of his life, Bruno represented the life of many captive bears.
His history isn't well known. He's been in a private menagerie, and he was neglected.
He was confiscated from someone that should have never had him, and that was down in Tennessee. He then went to Knoxville Zoo, who didn't have the exhibit, a very small exhibit, one that they used to have polar bears in it. It was an old retired exhibit, but it was the best that they had to work with at the time.
He was a brown bear who needed a home at any rate, and we had the home for him, which is good because if he didn't have a home, you know, he could have ran the potential of being euthanized, which would have been unfortunate.
The time came to bring Bruno to Montana. And when the zoo staff first got to meet him, it was clear that there was something very special about this bear.
Bruno's a really friendly acting bear. I just can't get over the personality that he projects to you. And I could see just why these folks really love this animal and wanted to find a good home for him.
Trying to transport a 700-pound brown bear is no easy task, but Bruno didn't seem to mind.
We loaded him up in a steel crate that weighed over 1,500 pounds, and then you add Bruno, another 700 pounds. We used a large forklift to slide that crate with Bruno locked inside into our stock trailer, and it was fun bringing him back home. He adapted real well to the trip.
The night that we got here, he actually stepped right out into the loading dock. I mean, within 2 seconds. I was in the building waiting for him, so when he stepped into that room, I just called his name, and he came directly into the building. He came in and he snoozed. We came in through the night and checked him every 2 hours, and he was sleeping every time we came in. Everything
was in place. The exhibit was ready, but would Bruno accept his new home as a natural bear habitat?
There's a comfort level, I think, that has to be accomplished with bringing the animals in. And if you can make them comfortable, they'll be a little bit more receptive to the people and the environments that they're in.
When I first opened the door for Bruno to come into his exhibit, he kind of just stood there a little bit, and then he finally did step out. He was on the cement, just kind of took a big smell around, and kind of went towards the fence line. I think he's pretty used to a smaller area, so with the fence line he feels comfortable with. He did do the whole exhibit. He went clear around it. He's done really well. Wow, he looks like a real bear out in the wild. You don't know that he isn't a bear out in the wild when he's walking across the exhibit. Everything's so natural. I'd almost wonder if his natural instinct comes back to him. He's out there grazing on grass, he's walking through the swampy parts. You ready? You might come in. He makes me smile every morning when I come to work, first of all. He always meets me, and I give him a banana or a little treat or something just to say good morning, and then he's ready for his food. Good boy.
Along with safety and security for Bruno and his handlers, the facilities offered an advanced air exchange and heating system, as well as storage and refrigeration for fruits, vegetables, and bear kibble that are a part of Bruno's diet.
It's intended that we'll have a Russian bear at the exhibit as well. In fact, we'd like to have 2 of them, and like to have the community of Norilsk and the school children in the community of Norilsk actually help in naming those 2 bears once they would get here, which we think would be an international gesture, obviously, to what we might consider sort of a sister city in Russia, if you will.
But until that time comes, Bruno has the place all to himself.
He is the star of the zoo. Even before he came out, he was kind of the star out here.
I had my grandchildren over there on Friday night. They were just absolutely delighted with the antics that Bruno went through right there at the window, where you could actually put your hand up against the window and Bruno had his nose against the other side of the window. It was pretty spectacular.
He'll do some really goofy things. You just got to catch him at the right time, but he does some goofy things with balls, throwing him over his head. We have a tire that came with him from Knoxville, and he'll put that on as a hula hoop.
This is one of his favorite toys, that big old tractor tire there. It takes several guys to pick that thing up, and Bruno can do it all by himself, of course.
What bear could ask for a better home? And who could ask for a better bear?
You know, when I walked through the gates of Zoo Montana today, I saw all those kids out there. And one of the most important things that this zoo does is to educate our young people about the importance of animals and animal habitats and preserving a place in this world for our wild animals. Bruno gets a wonderful chance to be an ambassador for his species. And I really appreciate what Norelsk has done to provide an exhibit like this, a place where people can come and learn about these animals and then go out into the wild and help preserve a place, a home for our wild animals so that we can live together in this world.
We'll never be able to thank them enough for genuinely, investing. There's lots of places that they could have shown their relationship and ties to Montana, and we appreciate that they chose Montana as a place to make a relationship with Montana.